Markets coming back to life. We're getting a washout to the downside. We had a huge washout, almost a crash. It felt like the end of the world happening over the weekend, but then we saw it rebound back a little bit. Is it just because of that CME futures gap that's almost directly overhead? What is going on? There are some incredible signals in the chart. I'm talking things that just make me more bullish than ever. So if you can get behind that, throw an absolutely bullish emoji in the chat. Throw I am bullish in the chat. Throw something bullish in the chat. If you feel like the markets are about to take a further downturn, let us know. Throw a bearish signal in the chart. Just say, I'm a bear. That's okay. There's no right answer. We're going to talk about what these signals are here in just a moment. And shout out to the 27,400 community members we have here on YouTube. The channel has been blowing up over the last few weeks. Big love to each and every one of you. If you're ready to get into this, if you're ready to see these signals, throw a 1 in chat right now. Let's get this going, baby. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good night. We got to talk about the markets ripping back and forth, both directions, shaking everybody out that isn't holding on tight with the strategy. Let's talk about it. We're diving straight into it today. Bitcoin down about 64,700, a little bit under that. Ethereum actually went down below 3,000 over the weekend. BNB 566, Solana 145. I cannot believe these numbers that let's remember, these are opportunities. Got Cardano still down here hovering, actually held pretty good in the sell-off. 47 cents. We also have, we got Avalanche down 37, Polkadot 689. I got a Polkadot video coming out this week as well, everybody. Chainlink down at $14, and so many things going on in this market. Outside of crypto, the context of the global picture, we can see this is a reminder that Bitcoin operates within the context of what's happening globally. But what does it mean? Where is price going next? Everybody, welcome to the show. My name's Kelly Kellum. Welcome to the BitLab Academy. It's a pleasure to have you here. It's a pleasure to talk about where this market is going. And if you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. Let's talk about it. We got some incredible charts right now that we're about to go through that show that we have an absolutely mind-blowing bullish opportunity that is brewing right now. We have to pay attention to what's going on. So let's get it. We got 210 people in the room. Let's break some records. And I want to say right now, we have a really big change that's going to be absolutely as bullish as it can be for BitLab Academy. All you paying members, we're going to be doing a Bitcoin halving sale that is going out this week. And every single person, we'd like every single person that's currently a member, everybody that's not yet a member, to pay attention. We're going to be releasing that either tomorrow or Wednesday. We're going to ask everybody, if you're a paying member, go ahead, take that opportunity. You're going to lower your monthly rate. You're going to lower everything. And you're going to be basically rolling off of Stripe onto a payment processor that we can actually work with. Stripe does not they're flagging us because we are somehow tied to crypto, obviously. So we're basically making it a big deal for everybody that is a member. You're going to get a lower pricing you've ever had. Doesn't matter what promo you're on. This is going to be the best deal ever. But let's talk about what's going on right now with this market, because remember, markets crash, the bull run's over. Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about not only Bitcoin, but let's talk about the context that's coming into this. 1929, stock market crashed 90%. 1973, stock market crashed 50%. 87 crashed 35. 2008 crashed 55. 2020, this is a COVID crash, down 35%, and all recovered to all-time highs each and every time. Let's repeat that right now. All these crashes where it felt like it was over, recovered to all-time highs each and every time. So what does that mean for where we're at right now? Well, let's look at these markets. Dollar index showing strength right here, breaking out of this triangle, coming back and absolutely doing a picture-perfect retest. If you don't know what a support and resistance flip is, if you don't know what a retest is, it's this right here. We see a trend line. What is this trend line? This trend line comes all the way here from this high to these 2 points that it rejects on, comes back up, rejects again. And this is a retest, breaking out, coming back, testing and pushing up. What this shows right now is a flight to the dollar. There's strength in the dollar right now because of global conflict. This tends to happen at the start of something major happening on the global stage. People pull out of risk assets and they move in, and essentially by moving out of risk assets, they don't even need to move into the dollar. By moving out of risk assets, we can also see the dollar index getting stronger. This is one of the reasons why we have that inverse correlation between the dollar and risk assets. Now, all of us, every single one of you and myself, we know that Bitcoin is actually the least risky asset out there, but it still trades somewhat tied to that risk narrative because, one, it's one of the most liquid markets on earth, and it's open 24/7. So while the stock market was closed over the weekend, what was open? The Bitcoin market. So what do we see? People have the ability to go in and engage with, move in, move out, in this case, of an asset. In this case, this idea of, these traditional traders that are trading on the weekend say, man, okay, let's move out of this because the markets, this could get a lot worse. And I have access to move out of this now. I can't move out of my stock positions until Monday. But then what happens? Okay, all of a sudden it's not a ceasefire, but all of a sudden that conflict cools down. It seems like maybe it's not going to escalate into something bigger. And now instead of having the market open 400 points down, I'm talking about the Dow Jones and S&P 500 and et cetera. Instead of that happening, the markets opened relatively at the same area. Actually, they opened up because there was a sort of change in narrative around everything that was going on with Iran and Israel. But we did get that sell-off in Bitcoin, and we did get a rebound. But we're going to be going into a bunch of charts today. I'm going to show you some signals here in just a moment that are going to make you more bullish than ever and make you realize the opportunity, probably one of the last best opportunities of our life, is coming right now. So when we see incredible things like this that felt scary in the moment, these crashes, these are scary for people that don't have a strategy or a longer term time horizon or dry powder on the sideline. Last thing, if you don't have any of those things, is just patience. This was scary as hell, but this also made absolutely uber wealthy people. Some people had some money and they have money on the sidelines and they're able to invest it into the market when it goes on sale. And that is what is happening right now. We have this sale opportunity, and I got some charts that's going to blow you away. Now, NVIDIA had a little bit of a rally this morning. We're going to want to pay attention to this because remember, the AI sector of the market, Fetch, Ocean, AGIX, and the list goes on and on, GRT, NEAR. There's so many things that are tied in with that AI narrative. So if NVIDIA is able to rebound and continues pushing up, this is going to be very good for that AI sector. If this does start breaking down further, we're going to want to keep an eye on this. Now, when we talk about everything that's going on, dominance absolutely went up to the moon here, had this wick all the way up here into the 57 percentile. And we have this trend line, this rising level of resistance. And I want you to notice right here at this last sort of tail end of it. Sorry, let me double click on this. This last tail end of it, we have a little bit of a bearish divergence on the dominance, suggesting maybe we're coming into the end of this rise, which would be absolutely incredibly bullish for our altcoins. Now, whether or not you are trading dominance, which you're not, you can use signals outside of the specific asset you're trading to give you an edge. Know that. So when we see this pushing up like it has, and look, we have this horizontal as well as this rising level of this trend line, this rising resistance level here. We had the dominance got eaten up by the bears, meaning that the alts, as they started to rebound, also some of them ran a little bit faster than the Bitcoin. You see the total market cap for alts, which is right here. This is a total 3 or total 2, everything but Bitcoin. We do see that. Look at this. If we move this line right here, you see this came really far down and then zipped started zipping back up. This is a weekly. Let's get down to the daily. We can see a little bit of weakness here. This is a gap that we're all so interested in. This is the gap. If you've ever been in New York, you ever been somewhere where there's trains or boarding and there's, they say mind the gap. This is a gap that we want to mind right here because this is a previous all-time high. We know that on Bitcoin, we've already gone up and broken through previous all-time high and have been consolidating around that level. And yes, it feels like the market was over because we had, what was it, like a 17% dip or something? But in reality, if we turn off every line here, put this on the daily or the 3-day, what do we see here? If we stop being so scared about a little bit of a dip, What do we see here? We see a large bull flag. Essentially, this is looking a little scary because it's almost triple toppy. This very well could get that bigger pullback, and we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. I'm going to show you some levels that we need to pay attention to, but more than price action, we need to pay attention to some key things in the market. So what are those things? Let's remember where we are at right now. This is a chart from Titan of Crypto, and I just want to see this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. We're coming into that 3 phase right here. What do we see in all the 3 phases? What do we see? Absolutely explosive growth to the upside that does not come when you're looking on the 1 hour with only up, with up only. This comes with a lot of work done in the intermediary periods to get there. Large rises followed by 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% drops. This has gotten more manageable over time as the market caps have gotten larger. Now, as this market caps have gotten larger, even just looking at the shape, I want you to pay attention to this 2 right here. And on this 2 right here, we know, because we've seen it, and I've showed it to you several different times here, this is how similar does this look right here. Let's go ahead and put a replay. We're going to put this just like this. Okay, now how similar does this look? We've got price action moving up, washing people out, coming up, consolidating until ultimately, let's go ahead and put this on 3x. Until ultimately, oh my God, it's over. It's over. Very similar feeling to what we're feeling right now in this current market cycle. And then where are we at? What level is this? Oh my God, 19,800. Well, let's zoom back. What is the previous all-time high? Right here about 19.6, 19.8. Okay, well, look at that. We are butting up, having to do some work at the previous all-time high. So then what happens as we move this forward? Oh my God, it's scary, scary, it's over. And then look how quick that explodes out of it. Pent up energy absolutely explodes once it is set free. So when we look at where we're at right now, for basically all of March, we've been consolidating in a range that is very tied to, we can see this, very tied to this previous all-time high. Come back over here, come to this chart, coming right into this zone, consolidating right in this. Rather than doing it under it, we're doing it right in and or around these previous ranges, $64,000 to $70,000. Yes, we've kind of overshot a little bit, but we have a huge amount of new capital flows into the space. In fact, not only do we have a huge amount of new capital flows into the space, we're only getting more. We just had the Hong Kong ETF, both Bitcoin and Ethereum, approved today in Hong Kong. And that's likely going to be starting to trade, I believe, next week. And we're going to get into that here in a second. But it's only going to get stronger here. So I am looking at any opportunity to the downside just as that opportunity. So we have several more charts here to go through, and we're going to get into it. Look at where we're at here also with the Williams %R indicator. This is this down here. It's not the RSI, it's the Williams %R. And just see how this gets overheated. It's over when this gets overheated, right? Well, let's look up to the chart. Boom, that's when this really got going. Came overheated. Boom, that's when it really got going. Overheated, really got going. And look at where we're at right now. It doesn't mean we're only going to have the opportunity for upside here. It does mean that there's going to shake out any weak hand right now before this opportunity really presents itself in terms of profits. You don't get to participate in profits unless you make some really smart decisions. And those decisions are like this. I was going to close out with this, but this bear market FUD, it's not over, and all the confusion. And it's not like you just get rich in crypto. I'm sorry. There is work to be done, and sometimes that work to be done is on yourself. It's on your patience. It's on your strategy. So let's give you some more of those signals that we are looking at right now. Some of these signals are, this is another version of that same chart we just looked at, but we get this bottom normal uptrend into that pre-halving area. Similar here. Yes, we had some work to do here as well. Came into that previous all-time high. Boom, strong uptrend. This is exactly where we're at right now again, coming into that next phase. So my question for you right now, and if you're watching later, drop something below this video. Are you scared right now? Are you worried? It's okay if you are, say it. We got to express these things. We can be scared, but also figure out a way to educate ourselves and have a plan. and have these communities like we have here at BitLab Academy. Every single one of you, you're not subscribers to this channel. You are community members. I am in this community with you, and you are in this community with me. We're going to do this together. So let's not get scared. Let's get curious about what the hell we could do. Let's say that again. The market might be dropping a little bit. It might chop up. It might chop down. But we are coming into the most bullish part of this market cycle. And I want you to succeed. So let's not be scared. Let's let that feeling, that emotion, not trigger a sell, not trigger confusion. Let's let it trigger curiosity and figure out how we can strengthen our strategies so we can dominate this market cycle. That's what I'm here for, and I hope you are too. So comment in the live chat right now. Are you bullish? Because I know I am. Now, here is one of the most bullish signals that I've seen in some time, and you're going to love this. Let me pull it. I don't know why this keeps resetting on me. Let me pull it up. Velo chart right here. Let's come here to aggregated premium, and let's also put in aggregated funding. Boom. Now we're going to come over here to the one day chart. I just want you to notice something. We're going to put a line right here, option V, and then again, what do we see right here? Option V. Why am I doing this on these random spots? Because what we're looking at right here, this aggregated premium, what this is showing is if spot is costing more or less than the futures and derivatives, leverage. When you have this sort of premium go negative, it tends to be this launching pad into this bullish uptrend. So in this case, we had a lot of negative here, right? This is when things were still very questionable. FTX crashes right here. There was a lot of doubt still in the market. But then just before, this is basically the real start of the bull run back here. It's actually back here, January. But right here, this was a flip. This was a flippening of the narratives and the other context, looking at the traders and the bullish sentiment really coming in the market. You can see it evident right here on the chart. Now, after this mark, we can see right here, actually, there's another one right here. We can see how this flips. The market gets a little questionable. It goes negative, boom, up. It comes negative, creates a little bit of a platform, up. We just flipped negative again, and I believe, oops, wrong one. There we go. And yeah, look, we're getting almost as negative as we were back here in February before we had this massive move to the upside. Now, this does not indicate how long we're going to be, in this posture, this context, but is showing that we're setting up for a likely very strong opportunity zone. Even more so, the lower we go, the better opportunity we get, but we're already in that opportunity zone. And the fact that we have these big wicks to the downside, meaning the bears tried and the bulls ate it back up. Remember, every single candle tells you a story about what the narrative is between the bulls and the bears. So when we see candles like this with the bears trying to make an attempt to the downside, and you have this shadow or this wick, as we call it. This is a candle body, the thick area. This is the wick. This means the bears tried to bring this down and the bulls said nope, and they ate it back up. And then it flips to now the bulls trying to take a shot, and we can use these individual candles and then put them in groups together as patterns to let us know, to identify to us what that sentiment narrative is. What narrative is winning the battle between the bulls and the bears? And when is that narrative about to switch? If you understand this, you can have a much better lens as to what is about to happen in this market. So with that being said, where are we at right now with all these signals? We had this, we had the negative print here with this aggregated premium, suggesting we may be setting up. It doesn't mean it's absolutely going to happen. We may be setting up for something very nice here in terms of a rebound. Now, this is not guaranteed, but there's a lot of things going on. But where are we at in the context of this market cycle? This is a great chart put together by Root. By the way, it's his platform that I'm always using, the Bitcoin strategy platform. But he's got this great chart that shows the same 4 cycles overlaid, but using as a range based on the previous all-time high, organized by just the ETF approval, right? When the ETF got approved, also the halving date coming into it, also the 4-year cycle, which we're right at right here. Yes, you have to realize 4-year cycle and halving cycle are just a little bit different because everybody calls a halving cycle a 4-year cycle. The halving cycle is based on 210,000 blocks, which happens to be about 3 years and 10 months, not 4 years. So this is why these two are separate. But all in all, don't know anything else about this. Just look at this. What do we see? Regardless of any of the ways that we're organizing this, we're pretty, like in this case, right in the middle of the pack, right where we should be. In this case, we're just below the 2013 cycle. We are above the 2017 cycle and 2021 cycle, but we're basically in context for where we should be. Halving cycle, we're just a little bit above. 4-year cycle, just a little bit of above. Aggregate, looking at all these, suggests that we're nowhere near out of context for where we should be, even though some people would say we're very high with where we should be at this part of the cycle. It's not really the case when you look at all the data. Now, we can also see we're looking for what's happening with all these altcoins. We're coming into this position. I mean, nothing's different so far at all. There's been zero context change about where we're at in this market cycle. I mean, zoom out on this Bitcoin chart. Turn off every line. Let's look at this and realize this is a bull trend. This is looking great. And I think it is, let me come back over here. I believe it is Kevin Svensson. That's not what I want to go to right here. I believe it was Kevin Svensson who showed, Kevin Svensson showed that nothing in the context has changed. We had a huge sell-off, but we're still minding this sort of support. It's a suggested support region of this parabolic uptrend. And these typically happen like this, where we have this large base, dip, launch off, large base, dip, launch up. It gets a little larger. Large base, dip, launch up. See how this is getting larger each time? This is what's creating this parabolic move. Shout out to Micah Hall, $2 super chat, says Kelly for Congress, bearish on IRS and $1. There you go. And I of Vandron, $10 super chat, said, love the channel, subscribed a few days ago. When you have time, could you take a look at SWF, I don't even know what that is, a Swift coin, to see if you could be one of many good alts to get? I'll take a look at it towards the end. Shout out, thank you for the super chat. Shout out to everybody that is here. But just notice, everybody, with all the chop that we got, and if yes, we all fall prey to this sometimes. We forget that our chart's on like a 7-minute time frame or something like this. And let's see, it's Friday, Saturday. We'll be looking at it like this. We'll be looking at it like this, right? All of us have done this. We forget. Maybe we didn't forget. Maybe we just have poor practicing standards. But we'll be looking at it, be like, okay, I think it's a time to get in. And then what happens is, you forget you're on a very small time frame. We forget to zoom out, because this is what happens. You see this, you go, oh yeah, I got this, it's going up. Yeah, inverted head shot. Oh my God, the market's over. But then we forget to look. Nothing changed. When you're looking at the macro, nothing has changed until we honestly break below the short-term holder cost basis, which is at about $59,000. It's a level I've been marking out here for the last few weeks. There's no context shift at all, even questioned, until we break below that level. And that's a little bit below where we're at now. But even on this other picture, this parabolic curve pattern with the 1, 2, base 1, 2, 3, 4, up into the 5 wave here, nothing's changed. So let's be a little bit more patient about how fearful we are with what's going on in the market. And also considering with altcoins, nothing has changed. This large rounding base, large rounding base, large rounding base here. And then the breakout, retest, consolidation, launch. Breakout, retest, consolidation, launch. Okay, breakout, retest. Everybody say it with me. What's next? Consolidation, launch. I'm not scared at all. In fact, I am thrilled. I was talking with Joshua Jake about this. We went to Andrew Schultz yesterday, a comedy showcase last night. Sometimes you got to get out of the charts. We had a crypto conversation all the way downtown, 35-minute drive to Atlanta. All we were talking about was crypto, what's going on with the market, nothing's changed. In fact, what's happening right now may may change the idea of, you know, he was even saying potentially selling everything after the halving because there might be a sell-off. Well, this just reset so many signals on the market. This reset a lot of those signals we would be wanting with the halving sell-off. Things are looking a lot better now because of the sell-off. Let me say that again. The sell-off scares us all, but that sell-off created a healthier picture for the Bitcoin and crypto market. Things are looking better now because of that sell-off opportunity. We saw price action move down. We saw the bulls defend a particular area. We didn't break any key support structures. We're still within incredibly bullish patterns like this with the altcoin market, like this with the parabolic uptrend pattern. Nothing has changed in context for where we are at right now with this sell-off. The sell-off is just building the stair step on the way to heaven. The question is, are you buying into these dips, or are you losing your mind and capitulating, giving your money to BlackRock and other smarter plays in the game? Because I'm taking advantage of these opportunities, and I hope you are too. I really do. Now, with that being said, we got a couple more things to cover. We got to do some TA as well. So everybody, we got 321 people in the room. I hope every single one of you has hit the like button, subscribed. We have been growing like a rocket this last few weeks because I'm providing you levels and context and tools and resources. No bias here. I don't care if it goes up or down. I'm going to take advantage of it. The levels we've been outlining on this chart, on these charts, have been hit. I mean, you guys want to see how hard these have been hitting? I mean, delete that replay. Let's go to this chart right here. Let's go to the 2-hour time frame. Double click here, make it go to auto mode. There we go. Now turn this off. And I just wanted to I didn't move anything on it. All this, you can look at all my streams last week. These levels were here. Look at this level right here. Look at where this line tapped. This wick came right down, boom, right on this level. Where'd this come down to? Right into this box. Look, bounce here, rejects here then. Now find support on this line. I didn't change a thing on this chart other than sliding this to the right. These levels have been hitting, and I looked through a bunch of my shorts from last week, and my shorts from last week all were suggesting, and I was telling you, I'm looking at these lower levels. I'm looking for that opportunity zone to the downside, and we got it. So let's take advantage of this. We got this. The altcoins are setting up. Yes, they sold off more than Bitcoin, but I've been telling you that here for the last year plus. I'm a huge fan of altcoins, but I'm also very aware that you're going to have higher volatility experienced in those. So when Bitcoin drops, altcoins are a lot of times going to drop a lot more than Bitcoin does. But this means we're getting that final opportunity. I'm curious right now, everybody in the room, let's do this. Roll call really quick. Where you tuned in from? What city, what state, what country? And did you buy anything during this dip? Did you sell anything? And I don't mean just like sell, like if you're selling to rotate profits into something else. I mean, did you capitulate out, or what'd you buy? If you did buy, what'd you buy? Let me know in the live comments. Let me know, comment down below if you're watching later. Now, here we go. Here's some of these, a few more bullish signals. Bitcoin, short-term holder SOPR, the spent output profit ratio. It's a lot of words. Undercut 1, which is exactly what we want to see. Remember I just said we had the sell-off, but things are looking better now. It's things like this. Short-term holders are disproportionately the ones holding losses right now, and markets need to shake out weaker hands before we move higher. SOPR is a metric that benefits contrarians. Watch the retest of the 1. It needs to break above, not find resistance. So this is where we're at right now. This is what he's talking about, the SOPR, short-term holders spent output profit ratio. So this means spent output. You traded away. You sold it. Did you sell it at a profit or a loss? This is essentially what it's showing. And this is what he's talking about right here. We broke below the 1. The 1 line is right here. This is where it turns red, you see. We want to see something like this, a come back up, retest up. We do not want to see something like this, come down, reject, and come down, because this is what happens. You get that continual downtrend if that happens. But what this is doing is it's shaking out some of those weak hands. Do you realize if you're part of the class that capitulates during a bull trend, you're doing the work needed to make other people richer? Let me say that again. Do you realize if you are selling in fear during a bull trend, then you personally are doing the work necessary to make rich people richer. And I know that's not why you're in this market. We need to look to how these whales are swimming. The fact that they're accumulating at these levels, they accumulate at lows, they sell into the strength of a bull trend. We're in this very strong bull trend right now, and we have some scary news that comes out, and you never know what it's going to be. There can always be a different black swan in every cycle because there always is that type of thing that happens, that mass shakeout. And the question is, do you get shaken out, or do you have the resolve that you deserve profits near the top? Because that's why I'm here. Now, with that being said, let's get back here. Doing the work. Market's doing the work, shaking out the weak hands. Couple more charts, we're into it. This is what I was just talking about. We already went over this. As of yesterday, Bitcoin is once again trading with a spot premium. This is that chart I was showing you here. And also, in addition to this, we can see this is the funding rates. Look at how low the aggregated funding rates got very hot here, meaning there's a high funding rates, meaning a lot of people, the fact that this is green, a lot of people were going long here. And then this is dropping down to levels that we saw all the way back here in February before this larger rise up. So these mechanisms, these things that impact global stages and markets, and yes, Bitcoin is a part of the global stage. It does not act independently. What we're seeing here is, yes, we got a sell-off, but it's made the market, the Bitcoin market, a healthier place right now because of all these moves. Now coming over here, oops. Computer going slow. There we go. Okay, now this is something, this is a similar short-term holder supply and loss. Bear markets start when too many people buy too much coin too high. Who buys at tops? Weak hands. They're buying hype. They're not buying the data, buying low. So as price sells off, it plunges these top buyers into panic mode, and their coins fall into loss. Looking at short-term holder coins, that's always when you see STH, you're talking about short-term held coins. Coins that have been moved and traded and bought or sold within the last 155 days. They're like 85% more likely to capitulate in the face of volatility. Looking at the short-term holder coins, we simply don't have the volume of top buyers akin to previous it's over moments. This is a bullish chart. Why? Because look at the red. Look at also this orangey color. We're very low here, and it's over top heavy short-term holders and loss. We see this still very low. So this is akin to where we'd be at like here, where we'd be at like here. And right now, in the moment, when you look at the $70,000, $60,000 price tag in US dollars for Bitcoin, we can get blinded with the irrelevant data of the price and think, man, this is expensive. How can it go any higher? It should sell off. Well, ignore the price. Look at the data. Look at the structure. Picture this as a penny. This is 2 pennies. Okay, this is this is 1.5 pennies. This is 1.7. You know, right? The price is irrelevant. It's the structure we're looking at and the composition of the underlying data. And the underlying data suggests we are at that point that we've talked about before, that we are consolidating. We're consolidating. Where is that damn chart? We are consolidating. We're consolidating in this zone at the previous highs. Consolidating in this zone right here. Consolidating in this zone. We're at this end of the two, coming into this parabolic move right here. This is exciting times. Now, when we look at this chart right here as well, the price sell-off is needed to reset traders' unrealized profit to zero. Typically a bottom signal in bull markets. Yes, a bottom, meaning we're having a bull market, rise, what do we get? Retrace, continuation. The mechanism by which market cycles shake out people that don't deserve the profits. You deserve the profits if you get them. That's the only mechanism that really determines if you deserve them. So you have to ask yourself, do you deserve them? And if you deserve them, then what's your strategy to have resolve in a market and know when to exit on your terms, not on the terms of fear in the market. So now we can see I'm sure you guys have seen this. Bitcoin, Hong Kong spot ETFs. They've been approved to exist, but not launch yet. Rumor launch next week. Complete. They don't want to compete with the Dubai conference going on. It's just starting. Don't expect a lot of flows. Might be a little bit before we get a lot of flows. Some people say 25 billion. If I had to guess, that 25 billion is going to be over a longer period of time. It's not going to be on the get-go, right? It's probably going to, it says right here, Hong Kong ETF market is tiny, only 50 billion, but he's expecting that they'll get lucky to get around 500 million, but we'll see. This is all going to be up in the air, but we're coming into the most bullish part of the cycle, and we have new capital flows into the space. Excellent. We also need to pay attention to, now we're about to hop into some TA, but before we do, we have to pay attention to key events this week. March retail sales data. Remember, everybody's on the fence about when the market, when the monetary policymakers are going to cut interest rates. So all this is very important to that. One of those things, remember, Bitcoin does not operate in a vacuum. It's within the greater context of global markets. We have March retail sales data today. Fed Chair Powell speaks tomorrow. Existing home sales data Thursday. Philly Fed Manufacturing Index Thursday. About 10% of S&P companies reporting earnings from last quarter. We also have total 13 Fed speaker events this week. There's going to be a lot of narrative chasing about what the tonality of those comments are, and all while geopolitical tensions have worsened. So a lot of things to be paying attention to right now with all this. And by the way, if you haven't yet, make sure you're giving me a follow here at Kelly Kellam, KELLYKELLAM. I want you to follow don't follow any of the impersonator accounts out there. And then, of course, make sure you're following the BitLab Academy here at Academy BitLab. And again, I just want to remind everybody, we have a huge change. It's going to benefit every single person in the BitLab Academy on the paid side, where we have our community with our Discord, with all the charts and signals and member streams and calls and watch lists. And there's so much going on in our Discord, keeping people in the know, tying our community together, as well as the courses that we have at bitlabacademy.com that show you on-chain analysis and trading fundamentals, self-custody, psychology of trading, candle, everything you need to know. And then, of course, we have our indicators as well. And we have a major shift coming this week. We're moving away from Stripe, which is our payment processor. And in order to do that, we're going to have everybody re-sign up with our new payment processor. But we're doing it with a huge deal. It's going to be the lowest price anybody's ever paid, so you can actually lock in a lower rate. There's going to be a trial period for everybody as well, regardless of if you just paid or not, or if you're on a trial. If you've never been a member or you haven't, everybody gets this deal. It's a halving, Bitcoin halving, so Bitcoin half off. So I'll be sharing more information about that tomorrow, and we'll be directing everybody into that. And I hope you all participate, so Stripe doesn't effectively shut down our business from trying to cancel our stuff with them. But we got a new processor, and it's going to be all good. Now let's talk about some charts here. We got to talk about that TA, baby. We have these levels. This is still looking weak. If we're on a small time frame, here. This is in a downtrend. We have lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, still lower high. We're looking for that context of if this is forming higher lows, do we get a high? We need to break beyond this or this at some point, and that's going to start telegraphing us something's coming in. I think all eyes are going to be on these ETF flows today and tomorrow because of what's going on with the Iran conflict, right? And we want to watch this level right here, 58,900, 59,000 zone. We have not broken below this yet. We've bounced there. So we're going to want to watch this as our bellwether, really, because we're still within this channel. See, from this top and this bottom, we just have a channel here. We're kind of trading within this. The halving is this week. Can you believe that? The halving is this week. Expect some chop. Expect a little bit of uncertainty in the market right now because everybody's seeing, is Israel going to retaliate or not? All we can do as individuals being like, if you think you're compartmentalized, you're just a market investor trader, ask yourself how you're going to risk and de-risk in this market. There's going to be chop this week because halving is a huge narrative. There's potential for another sell-off that comes. It also depends on what happens with Israel. That could shake the markets further. And we have all those Fed speakers happening this week, as well as this economic data. There's a lot at play right now. So with this being said, let's go ahead. I'm going to delete some lines on this chart just so we can keep it a little bit cleaner. Move this over. Boom. We're going to delete this. Boom. These are the two. Yeah. So there we go. Make it a little bit cleaner. And when we look at this, money flow is chopping back and forth, positive, negative. Let's go to the daily. So remember, I spoke about this last week. The money flow is arcing to the downside. And look at this VWAP spread, boom, to the downside. We're getting these lower lows here on the RSI. Stochastics also angled to the downside. We're going to want to pay attention here with what happens with the money flow. We're going to want to pay attention to if this does break down and comes up and retests the zone and then signals a further move to the downside. That very well could happen, because if we come over here to Willy Woo, who I was so honored, he responded. He posted a huge legend in the crypto space. He posted, where was it? I think it's right here. Yeah, yeah. So he was talking about that short-term holder support that I've been talking about as well. And he said, here's how the market looks to me. 58,900 short-term holder support. If this breaks, we move to a bear market. And I kind of came to challenge this a little bit. I said, well, considering we deviated below the short-term holder cost basis in 2023, that is this right here. This is that deviation below. And we continue to the upside. And then resumed higher and pushed to new all-time highs before the halving. Do you, Willy Woo, think it's possible to get another deviation below and then resume higher, much higher? Or do you still hold the short-term holder cost basis as a line in the sand? And he said it can dip through and recover quickly. See 2017. Also, we saw it in 2023, like I just showed. Also, the context is raging spot-driven bull market. That phase, that's 6 to 9 months in a 4-year cycle. Reaccumulation phases cross this line many times. Now, the question is going to be, I think what he's signaling there is that if we do get a break below this, we could have a delayed repeat of what we saw in 2018. If we double click here, zoom out, we could have a repeat of what we saw here, where we actually did break below that short-term holder cost basis. If we zoom down here, we can see it, turn off the 200-day long-term holder. This is what I was talking about right here, where we did break below it. You see, came up, rejected, came down, chopped around it, and then resumed. This was months before the halving. So maybe things are just stretching out a little bit. If that's what he's saying, that if we lose the short-term holder cost basis and we get something like this post-halving, which we very well could happen, especially with all the geopolitical stuff going on. Mark my words, I'm not saying this is going to happen. What I'm saying is if we do get a strong move down below the short-term holder cost basis and come up and reject from it and start moving down, then we may just have this lengthening cycle starting to play out, especially if we get very bad, catastrophic geopolitical news that drops the entire market. Because remember, we were looking at the, where's the totals at? Totals right here. We do see the S&P 500 does look a little toppy, right? If we come down and we lose this line, that we may be having a bigger correction on the traditional stock market. Now, why do we care about that? Because if we come over here and look at Bitcoin to S&P 500, because double click every single time. Yep, you know, there we go. We do see that, yes, Bitcoin moved faster, but the general direction here was up while Bitcoin was up. And then when this started moving down, S&P 500 was also moving down. There's a pretty tight correlation between what's going on with S&P 500 and Bitcoin. So when we're watching these traditional assets and we're worried about what's going on geopolitically, and yes, I want up only, but we also see the Dow Jones coming down, finding support on this previous high. If we lose that, the next level down is somewhere, you know, I mean, that's a pretty, for Dow Jones, that's a pretty, 5% move to the downside is major. Billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars are represented in that 5% move. So we got to pay attention to what's going on here and be prepared be prepared for that move potentially down here into the 47s to 53s. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying I'm prepared. Because remember, we just went through all these very bullish signals about, this is going negative. We do have a case to be made for upside from here, but there is a case to be made also for a further sell-off. So if that were to happen, you're going to see me on the corner, hanging my leg out on the street, and I'm going to say, I'm trying to mine some fiat so I could put it in the market, baby. But I remain still more bullish than bearish. I do think that there's a possibility that we do dip down into here, and this would be a launching pad for it to move up if that happens. Looking at what's going on with Bitcoin in this smaller range, if we're able to find support in this region and we don't break to new lows, then I do think we could basically, as Dr. Jeff Ross calls it, the bull crab market, where we are very bullish, but we're kind of moving up and crabbing sideways. It's going to consolidate a little bit, and then we get that next wave to the upside. Maybe we chop this week. Maybe we chop this week, April 15th, through the halving. Get a little bit of chop with all this, also all this economic news and the Fed speakers. And then next week, the ETFs come in. If there's a very underwhelming response, remember, all these ETFs are not immediately good in the short term because there could be an underwhelming response. And that basically shakes the market because it's like, oh, maybe there is an interest in Asia, which I don't necessarily see happening. But we have to be prepared for it. Now, coming back over to these charts, looking at Ethereum, came down. We were talking about this level. It bounced, lost it. Now, this is actually a little bearish because we have lost it, and the price action has come back up into the zone and is currently not yet fully rejecting, but it's having resistance right at this level. And look at where this broke down to. Look at that magic number, the 1.618. And I had this level marked out about 3 weeks ago. So hit the like button if you've been following here. If you've been looking, even if you were frustrated 3 weeks ago and you're like, why the hell would he suggest $2,800? I'm just looking at the charts. I show you every day bullish outlooks and the bearish scenario. If you don't do that, then you catch yourself unprepared, swimming naked in front of your grandparents. And that's not why we're here. We want to have on the best swimsuit with swimming flippers. Well, I want a snorkel and a mask. I am prepared, baby. And I want to make sure all of you are prepared as well. So this is we're still in that context. So we could chop here as well with Ethereum. And we can also see Ethereum is still breaking to the downside on the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart pairing. Yes, we're getting a little bit of rebound here, but I don't really have any conviction on this until we actually start breaking trends. Because look, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Finally got a fake out higher high on this very small region to immediately break back down, lower low. We want to actually get a higher high followed by a higher low. That's the start of a new trend. AVAX. I made some moves this weekend. I shared it all in the Discord with everybody, all you family members in there in the BitLab community, talking specifically about some of the moves I was making. And I made this move right here. I made this move about 4 minutes before the market just nuked itself there for a moment. But yeah, I made some moves, and in that portfolio, I strengthened my Matic position. It got down to 67 cents. I added some AVAX. I added Cardano. I did take profits. I exited my position on Velodrome. I exited my position on Pangolin and I took some profits on Arrow as well. And this just had to do with me. Yes, I was acting a little emotionally, but I was doing it with a vision of what's happening in context of the market right now with Uniswap, also with the lingering court cases with Coinbase, and all these things. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna, because those were holding up fairly well when everything else was down. I was like, I'm gonna de-risk out of these, and I'm gonna strengthen my position because Matic had gotten so cheap. I couldn't not put money in there, and I didn't have dry powder. So I took some projects that were too high risk in the environment that we were in that were actually still up. Excuse me. And I rotated that into Matic, Cardano, I think, Tia and Near, I believe. So the portfolio is looking good. We took a bit of a dip, but I'm looking at the totals that I have on stuff. I'm feeling stronger and stronger. I was also having too many small positions taking up too much collectively of the portfolio. So, you know, I really got, now I have, you know, Matic, AVAX, Near, Cardano, Link, and Injective making up the majority of the portfolio there, you see? And then TIA, next one, and then Stacks. I want to add to Stacks too, and so on and so forth. So I'm feeling good now, feeling a lot better about what's going on with the market. And I'm just waiting for my next DCA in about 2 weeks. I'm so cash poor right now, baby, because I'm taking advantage of what's before me. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I got to roll. I got some things to work on. Look out for that huge promo that's coming out. You know, you can email me at help@bitlabacademy.com. Everything's still set and fine right now, but I'll be letting you all know about what that is. And I'll get Alex Green and Alexandra G up to speed on what all those new opportunities are going to be, because I want every one of you to be able to participate in this community, and we're going to do it in a great way that everybody can do that. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I hope you're all doing well. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Ding the bell. These markets are about to change some lives, and I'm so thankful that we have this opportunity of this dip. Remember, feel thankful for this opportunity of this dip. Don't be frustrated by it. If you're frustrated, that's an indication that there's some strategy adjustments that you can make. Sometimes it's just patience. I'm grateful for you all. Adios. Adios, muchachos, and keep it coming. Thank you for always tuning in to BitLabAcademy.com. Love you guys. Hit that like button, baby.